This is the Learnit Lounge, a podcast brought to you by Learnit. In each episode, I sit down with HR and L&D leaders to explore how learning programs have sparked real change, unlocked growth, built trust, and transformed the way that teams work. Hosted by me, Dr. Mickey Fitch-Collins, a facilitator and learning designer at Learnit, this podcast brings you the stories behind successful learning strategies, direct from the people driving them. Learnit is a live learning platform that's helped over 2 million professionals thrive inside some of the world's most respected companies. If you're looking for a partner to help you do the same, our contact info is in the show notes. Welcome to the Learnit Lounge, where learning leads to measurable impact. The most overlooked outcome in learning is belief. Our belief in ourselves, our belief in others, our belief in possibility. This is why I think learning builds confidence, it builds stories, and it builds strategic value. When we talk about learning outcomes, we usually default to knowledge, skills, behaviors, metrics, ROI, measures of 4.79 out of 5, whatever this is, but there is a more foundational lever that we oftentimes ignore, and that's confidence. Confidence fuels risk-taking. It strengthens retention. It anchors people in clarity when the environment is chaotic. And without it, all the knowledge in the world won't translate to any kind of action. Ash Panjwani talks about learning as a gym. What we do is we build that muscle over time. And one of the most important muscles is belief. The belief that I can do this. My voice matters here. It is the belief in growth mindset. It is the belief that we can get better. When learning and development programs create and foster and sustain psychological safety and agency, what happens is that we unlock this really powerful mechanism for change. Teamship, the concept that Keith Ferrazzi is really putting forward, is when peers give each other feedback, they challenge each other, they lift each other up, that confidence becomes collective confidence. The internal, the individual confidence becomes the collective. It's not just internal beliefs, it's reinforced through the social structures, the actual organizational structures, and the strategy of the larger mission of the organization. One of the best ways, by the way, to surface confidence is through stories. And I don't mean just testimonials. I don't mean case studies. I mean lived, messy, real, raw, human stories from learners about what changed them, what changed in them, what changed for them, what changed because of them, what changed because of what they experienced. This is the stuff, my friends, that sits in my LinkedIn inbox, the messages that I get, the conversations that I have back and forth, the stories that we tell between myself and all of the various learners that come into our workshops at Learnit, where they're talking about these changes that they're experiencing, the changes that they're bringing forward. Storytelling makes outcomes real. It's not just about the dashboards, it's about moving the hearts and the minds of the people of the organizations, because people are what changes. Organizations don't change. I can remember a time a few years back with a leadership team that I was a part of, and everybody was asked to go around the room and share a story of a time that they used something that they had learned. And one person was talking about a time when she had been avoiding a tough conversation for months and months and months, and it finally happened. And it completely changed the dynamic between her and her team. She didn't credit, I went to this training, I had this experience. What she did was she credited the moment that she realized she could do it, the moment that she actually reconnected with the facilitator of that module way back when. She went to a training experience and she saw the person who led the training in the grocery store, of all places. And she reconnected and they ended up having a conversation. And it was that conversation, the storytelling, that fueled her to have the tough conversation that completely changed the dynamics between her and the rest of her team. She credits that moment, that interaction in the grocery store, those conversations afterwards. This was the moment that she realized, hey, you know what? I can have this tough conversation. She had the support to try to do it. She had the clarity to try to do it. That, my friends, is the power of belief. And it's also the kind of story, I don't know about you all, but that's the kind of story that gets me really amped up to continue to do what I do. That's the kind of story I tell people left and right about the power of learning and development, is that we help create and foster situations that plant the seed of belief and confidence and stories into people's minds in order for them to move their behavior in a certain direction. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to start measuring belief. How do we do that? Start measuring belief by starting to design for confidence. What are you doing to help build confidence in the people around you? What are you doing to talk about belief? What are you doing to talk about growth mindset? What are you doing to check in on people's self-efficacy? Start telling the stories. In fact, start telling better stories. Use different tools like teachbacks and peer feedback and role clarity to build people's agencies. Start collecting these stories and building a culture of storytelling from learners after each one of the programs that you have. Reconnect with people over and over again to make sure that they are taking opportunities to apply what you're learning. Use confidence as a leading indicator of performance. We're not just talking about ratings. We're not just talking about metrics like ROI. Confidence can be a leading indicator of performance. And by the way, confidence is a huge indicator of employee retention. Because when people believe that they can, they usually do. And when they do, they stay. If this resonated with you, please go ahead and make sure to share this episode. Share it out in a LinkedIn post. Send it to somebody that you think needs to hear this today. And if you've got a story that you want to share with me, please go ahead and hit me up. Send me a message on LinkedIn. And until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.